everybody, and welcome back to Musings by Nikki. I am continuing on working on the Wildflower Journals, and I wasn't feeling particularly well yesterday, so I sat and played with some of the bin of scraps that we made in the last video, and made a whole like big old stack here, and I'll show you through some of them. So what I did was I'm making little clusters to go and decorate the book. And so I took some of the small oval pieces that comes in the kit. And then I also took some of the small square little embellishments. And I took some of the words that come in there. And I used the scraps, and I used some of the cheesecloth that we dyed as well. And I just started making some little clusters, and I believe all of them have been sewn. So like this one's sewn around. So this will look cute just on the bottom of the page. Some of them are a little bigger. And here's another one that just says relax. And I love the way that this splattery stuff came out around it. Some of them have some cheesecloth layered in them. Some of them do not. Some are kind of tall and skinny. That'll go cute along the edge of a page. And then some are a little bit bigger, and this will actually work good as like a tuck spot, or some of these will go good like if I have an envelope or something. This is a quick way to decorate that. I'll maybe layer one more piece of, you know, like I can put another piece of something underneath it, and then I've got a whole envelope decorated quickly. So these little clusters actually are super great for they're super great for journals, because you can decorate journals kind of, if you get a bunch of these made, you can decorate your journals kind of quickly. Here are some where I had punched out some circles, so I sewed that down. And yeah, so anyway, I've got a whole stack of these, and like I said, some of them are like, here's a longer one, so this will definitely, you know, I can glue it down like this and it can be a tuck spot. A couple of them back here, you know, again, here's one that I could glue down like this and it could be a tuck spot. This one's definitely bigger. This would be a great piece, even maybe on the front of a journal or something. Some of these long skinny ones go great with a little bit of stuff hanging out the edge of the book. Here's another one that would be a great tuck spot. So yeah, a couple of bigger ones I made back here. That one's bigger. I used one of the circles and a word. So yeah, I made all these little clusters. Sometimes the paper is like folded up on itself like this, and I just use it that way because I kind of like the way it's just organic that way. So I'm going to set aside my pile of clusters, and we're going to make some more. I'll just kind of show you my way I do that. And then I had some of these just plain white index cards, and I started layering some of the larger oval pieces. So you get in the kit these smaller ovals and larger ovals. You get a page full of them. So I started using some of the larger ovals on here, and these will just be journaling cards. You know, they're fun little journaling spaces. So I layered up some of the scrappy pieces we made and then sewed around them, and then just glued on the oval and a little piece of sari silk. I still have a few of those left from putting all the tabs on. And then this one had a piece that when I sewed around, see, this one was folded up, so I just kind of left it that way. But when I sewed around, I went, oh, that's actually kind of like a pocket. So I took the circle and backed it with some thicker cardstock and made it into a separate little tag, and that will be cute to go in. That would also be a cute little flip, you know, whatever. So and then I put one of the little labels that we made, you know, made speckly. So I'm going to set those over here as well. I have got some fabric that I dyed. I've got some pieces of cheesecloth. I've got my little pieces of embellishment up here. And I'll show you how I do this, how I go about it, which I just take out a stack of the stuff that we dyed, the little scrappy pieces, and I just start kind of picking out whatever it is that catches my eye at the moment. And usually I try to see how that's so cool when it was folded over, and then when you open it up, now you can use it that way. Same thing on the back. There's another piece like that. Ooh, that's cool how it's like two different colors. Anyway, you can use this as one big piece. This would work good as like a tuck, a corner tuck or something. Or you can, tear these into smaller pieces. So I just kind of start putting out some pieces and finding what I like and seeing what I think goes well together. And here's a little piece that's, oh, I'm going to sneeze, hold on. Excuse me. Here's a little piece that was like all folded up, obviously. And I think I'm going to use it just the way that it is like that. And probably what I'll do is just to keep it all folded like that, I'll zip it through the sewing machine this way and then put whatever I'm going to put on there. So like that. So I'll zip it through the sewing machine to attach them all together, and then I will sew around the wildflowers. So once I've got it ready to go, I just put it in a little pile over off to the side and make a next one. And then I process through a few of them. This is a cool piece. This would be like a cute pocket. Actually, that would work as a good, oh, look at it. It's like the perfect size. Yeah. That would make a perfect pocket on one of these tags like this. So let's see if we have something else that can go around the edges of it, kind of. Because remember, I'm going to sew around the edge of this. So I want to sew a few more little pieces onto it when I do. Let's see. Ooh, this one's cool. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go sew this one right now so I can show you what I'm thinking. Okay. This is what it looks like right now. I'll be right back. Okay. So I sewed around. I just zigzag stitched, and I wasn't trying to be careful about it or anything. And then what I'm going to do, because this is like flappy here, so I'm going to take my glue and just put a little bit just to hold that down. And then this piece, I'm going to use this as a pocket here. This will be a pocket, but this is loose in the middle, so I'm going to just go under the edge here with a little bit of glue just to hold it down so it doesn't impede the pocket's ability to be opened and closed. And actually, this is a perfect spot down here for a little label, I think. Let's do this blue one. Looks like it would be pretty there. Oh yeah, I like that. But I think I'm going to put a little bit of cheesecloth behind it. Yeah. Yeah, perfect. Hope you guys are having a good day. It is ridiculously hot here. I mean, when I say ridiculously hot, I guess it's all relative, right? If you're one of my, subscribers from Australia or anywhere in the southern United States, you're probably like, yeah, but it's 92 degrees here, Fahrenheit. That is much hotter than it gets on any regular basis here. That is one thing that I definitely don't mind. Even just the difference from the Twin Cities to here. That is a huge difference, is how hot it gets. How often it gets above 90 here is just not very often at all. There, that's cute. I like that. And the colors all go really good together. And then let me grab one of the big ovals. So that's so cute. Okay, but it needs to be backed because it's just on regular old paper. So I've got some of the, I have the same, I have the one that I cut the other one out of. Ooh, if I'm careful, I can fit it up there and cut it out. we had Bible buddies on during the school year. Our church runs a kids program called Bible Buddies, and we do it on Friday afternoons. But then and they just come straight from school, which works really well. The buses just drop them right off at church. But during the summer, we do it on Tuesday mornings. And so we had Bible Buddies this morning, and luckily there is some, like, I don't know how exactly it works, but our church is always much cooler. I mean, I think it's just a blessing from God, because we don't have air conditioning in the building. A lot of homes up here, I've noticed, don't have central air. Like, we just have window units. We have a built-in, our great room, we have a large, there we go. I'm going to rip this little piece off and put this back in my scrap pile. And then I'm going to distress around the edge of this. And the first one I grabbed was the lilac one, so we'll just do that quick. Anyway, we have a large great room, which is our living room, dining room, kitchen. So that does have like an in-wall unit, but it's still not central air. Can't have central air when you have a wood stove, because there's no ductwork. Okay. But our church is somehow super cool. Awesome. Now I think a couple little pieces of, I'm going to put this one over here, I think. Do I want green and green? I've got a smaller, I've got a pink. That would be cute. Let's do that. I'm gonna, yeah, I'm gonna go sew these little tabs on, and I will be right back. Okay, look at that. Super cute. I love it. Okay, so that's kind of what I do, right? I just go about playing with stuff. Like, so this is a bigger piece here as well. I wonder if I want to use that as another pocket. It's a little too wide, so I'm just going to rip one edge off because I can use this on something else. Yep, that actually works really well. But then again, I want to look at some additional pieces. Ooh, there's some book page. I mean, and you don't have to cover the whole, piece. As you see, I didn't on the other one either. It's just kind of fun to have a few pieces kind of going around the edge or something. I like that look. Let's see what's over here. Let's rip that part off. Okay, I kind of like this as my base layer here. Yep, so I'm going to go sew around that, and I'll be right back. There we go. I've sewn around the edge. Right now I've got a light pink in my bobbin and a kind of a pastel yellow in my top and thread. And I kind of like the way that looks. Instead of using one of the ovals here, I'm wondering, I've got some of the tags. Yeah, so these are some of the tags that I backed, right, and then cut out. So one of those would look cute in here as well. That totally works. Let's put a label down here. Let's do one of these. Let's see. Yeah, we'll go with that. It's just coming to me easy today, I guess. Some days, I tell you what, some days I do not just sit here and like, oh, it's so easy. Some days I sit and waffle over things for way too long, but I figure, or I find, excuse me, that when I just start throwing things together, it works best for me. Then I like to pull my cheesecloth apart like this because I love the super shreddy, like I really don't mind when I pull it and there's all kinds of little edges like that. I think the more crusty, the better. I like the tattery messy kind of look sometimes, especially when you're making clusters like this. I mean, you're already using a bunch of, you know, crummy paper. Crummy meaning like crumbs, not crummy meaning poor quality. Okay. Ooh, I gotta go out and water my wildflowers. You know what? They are probably not liking this heat. They are probably like, what in the world is going on? I'm trying to think. This little edge wants to keep getting caught, so I'm going to just fold it back like this and glue it down on itself. Otherwise, it's just going to get bent. So I'm going to like stop it from getting bent by doing the destruction myself on purpose. But then we can control the destruction rather than having it get destroyed. There we go. There we go. I like that color. I think that was just sitting here, but I like that one going with it. Then I'm trying to decide here. I might want to just punch a hole. Let me grab, I think I have my hole punch. It's right up here. Let's do a hole. And I've got some of this thinner, sorry, silk. It's also really windy today. That was a little too long, so I'm going to trim that down. There, I'm going to go sew this little tab on. I don't know why, but I just really like the idea of some little tabs on top of these cards. So I'm going to go sew the tab on and I'll be right back again. There we go. So there's another cute little journaling card. I love that these are, I mean, actually they're probably like from the dollar store or something, but they're light enough that this isn't gonna, even though it's got a pocket and a tag in it, this really isn't super bulky. So this now is ready to do one of a couple of things. Let me grab one of my signatures and show you. This could just go glued right on to the front of a signature or a page like this. It could also be hinged to be a fold out, and then there'd be some hidden journaling space on the back. Or, I don't know if this is one of the signatures that's got the pocket in it. No, it doesn't look like it. But I mean, it could just be even clipped in. It could be clipped in with a paper clip on top, and then you could pull it out and journal on the back, journal on this page, and then clip it back in, and now that's a decoration. Also, these little clusters. So like on a page like this, where it's just kind of there's not anything fancy, right? There's no kit pages or anything. It's a little bit more plain pages. Then I'll use this and just glue down on the bottom or glue up on the top or something. And then it just kind of instantly dresses the page up. And if you take a label that kind of matches it and put it down in this corner, now you've got a little layout that's a little more interesting and ties in with the rest of your book. So that's why these clusters are so awesome. So speaking of clusters, I have now made a couple of tags, and my intention was to show you what I do when I'm making clusters. So let's actually do a few more of those. I had one over here that I had set up. that of course kind of lost its little pile. Sometimes I just end up putting them in little piles like this, like, oh, I liked that together. And then when I get over to the machine, I have to kind of refigure it out. I also love these ones where I've punched something out of it like this, because I kind of think those are fun to put over. So I've got this pink piece here. And if you layer this over top of it, now you've got this instant kind of interest there. You can take one of these little pieces of wildflower. I did this on one of my other clusters and frame it with one of the little circle punches. You can do it like that. Or sometimes I just go like this and sew around it, because then you see the interest coming through those little holes. So let me decide here. I want to put something else with it though. I like to have, I feel like sets of 3. I don't know why. I feel like 3 is like a good 3 or more pieces of stuff. There, okay. I kind of like how that is. I'm going to sew around it and then I'll come back and show you what I would do with something like this. So hold on. All right, so I've got it sewn around on the edges, right? And I've got some interest because I've got those little holes going through there. And then what I might do with something like this is take one of the words. So we've got be free, and layer it over, choose a spot that I like, layer it over the circles, just layer it in somewhere. And now you've got extra depth and extra interest. So I kind of like it up here. And then what I'll do is put a little bit of, with something like this, I don't want to put too much because I actually worked hard to make that, make the circles show through. So I don't even need this to go necessarily behind the whole word. I might just have it go, come up out over the top a little, like that. And that adds a cute little embellishment. So now I'm going to go sew around this word and then I'll be right back. Okay, so there's a finished little cluster. And this is actually big enough that if I, glued it around the edges or just sewed down the edges, it could actually, I was just going to grab another tag. It could actually be a pocket for a little tag or something, which would be really cute. And then I did the other one that I had sitting over there too. So I zipped along and sewed the 3 pieces together, and then I put the flowers on the bottom and sewed around that. And again, this would be another one that could be a cute little tuck spot on another card like this or on a tag. Oh, I was going to show you also another trick that I do, and I've showed this in other videos as well, when I want to extend a kit. So here I have, I think I showed you, I have one larger, what'll be a larger 5 signature hardcover journal, or at least that's the plan now. And then there are 3 single signature journals that I've got kind of planned to go along. So I'm making lots of ephemera. That's why I've got that huge pile of clusters so far. And I will continue making some, because if I can make a whole bunch for, then I've got 4 journals worth of them made. That works perfectly. And another way that I can take and extend my kit is I will take kit pages, and this is just like a plain ivory cardstock, and print the kit pages out onto a cardstock and then slice this into tags. And so the kit comes with some tags. I've got over here some large tags that the kit already comes with, and I've backed these and cut them out and inked them, and that's awesome. I will use these. But if I'm looking for another way to make some flip outs or some side pockets or whatever, more tags, things like that, and I want them to match the kit, another way you can use your kits to extend your ephemera and stuff is by printing out extra pages of things and then using them to make pockets and such. So say, you know, the kitten that you've got didn't come with enough pockets and you really wanted to make a bunch more pockets, or you wanted to make pockets on things like this, you could cut out a pocket out of extra pages and then use them. Or like I was going to say, you could print this out, cut it out into a tag, and then use something like this on the bottom. And now you've got a tag that matches your kit. It's got writing space on the back. And if you use a cardstock that's not too heavy, then it's not going to bulk up your journal either. These are great ways to, you know, slice down and make a flip out page. So that can go on top of a, you know, again, another white page like this. So in your journal, you've got one page that's got some color to it and one page that's just white, and you want to make something that's got a little bit more of that theme that you're doing, and in this case it's wildflowers. You could slice up a chunk here and hinge it and make that a flip out, and now you've got journaling space. So you've preserved all this journaling space, added more journaling space, but also added some more of the theme that you're going for to the journal. So anyway, that was kind of my thought, and I printed these off a couple days ago and wanted to remind myself. And then also in true Nikki fashion, because this is what I do, I print things and I don't pay attention to what I'm doing, and then I just end up with pieces like this where I don't know what I was doing, and then it didn't print the whole thing. So rather than just chucking this, I will, you know what, these are supposed to be long side tucks, but I will cut these pieces out and use them. And this is another little piece that we could cut a little thumb notch in, and that could be a pocket. And then these could be little tuck spots, or they could become fodder for collage as well. So I'm definitely will cut those out and use them also. Don't get rid of misprints, right? And then this white paper here definitely can go in the scrap bin for whatever purpose I need it for. So I'm just gonna make a few more little piles here while I've got all this going, because my goal is to get this finished today. My goal is to get clusters finished today, and then in my next video, we'll just keep on making some ephemera. I want to make some additional envelopes. Oh, that's another thing you can do with kit pages like I had. I like that. I want to make some additional envelopes. These are great. This corrugated, it's super, super skinny, thin corrugated material, but I try not to use too much of it inside of a journal, because it's really hard to, you know, if you're writing on the page in front of it, you'll get all kinds of bumpiness, and even though it's super thin, it bulks it up in there. So I try not to do too much of that. I like this guy's potential as a little corner tuck, kind of. Let's see, what do we've got? We've got some music paper here. I just want to get through. I think I'm going to use all of these oval embellishments on clusters. I think that's just how I'm going to do that. This is like some piece of ephemera from who knows what, but that doesn't really go with this journal. It's pretty, but it doesn't really go with it. But, you know, I can either use the back side, or I can go over the front of it like this. At some point, I had to stop saying I was going to save every little piece of things, because Because the reality is, I will never in my whole life get through all the scraps that I have ever set aside. Can I get a witness? At some point, you have to start editing your scrap piles and stuff because there's just no way I will ever use in my whole life all the things. Oh, it is definitely so. We definitely live in an area of Minnesota where there are tons of lakes and lots of, I mean, we are in a tourist area for sure. And so this time of year, up and down Main Street, even though it's technically illegal to drive them up and down, it doesn't really matter because all day long we have four-wheelers and side-by-sides and golf carts going all up and down Main Street. So yes, and it doesn't matter. It used to be a thing. See, sometimes you have to look at something and I'm going this way and I'm thinking one thing in my head, but then I looked up here at my little words and thought, huh, I kind of like it with the word on there. I do. Wild. I also have some of that paper towel that I was using to clean things up. Let's see, let's go with a bright pink piece. We do not yet own any ATVs, and the girls keep trying to talk us into getting some. But dang, they're expensive. My brother's got a really nice side-by-side. And my great nephew can't say side-by-side because he's 4. So he calls it a bad guy side. And he was just up for a visit. They live out in Idaho. Ooh, I like that bright pink. So I've got this like weird bendy crumpled piece there, but I love it. And I love the grunginess and the bright pink. And this will look great with a word right there. Yes. So they live out in Idaho and they come for a visit, and we really get to only see, his name is Liam. We really only get to see Liam for about a week each year because, you know, Idaho's far away and whatever. So when he comes, we try to spend a bunch of time with him and, you know, get to hang out with him. And luckily, he's one of these kids that it doesn't take him a long time to kind of warm back up to you. You know how some kids, when they don't see you for a long time, then they're like, you know, slow your roll. Who are you? I don't remember you. I don't know you. Don't come all up in my space. But he's totally cool. He shows up. I think Shadow, his mom, my niece, does a good job of, like, you know, looking at pictures. Plus we Snapchat and modern technology and all. But he was just up for his visit. They were just up for the. Sometimes I get down to and I'm not liking my scraps anymore. You just got to grab another pile out and keep moving through them. He was just up for a visit. And so my brother-in-law, Sam, was taking him out in the bad guy side for a ride, and apparently had shown him, like, you know, he lets him drive. And so Liam was driving the bad guy side, and Grandpa Sam told him to not, you know, drive down into this one area, this like ravine, because it was a ditch. Well, you can just imagine, right? This little 4-year-old did not hear ditch. He heard something close. And so he was telling my sister and his mother to that, as he was then driving them a little later, he was telling them that that they're not supposed to go down into that because it's a ditch, but he didn't say ditch. Oh my goodness. That was a good laugh for a while. So now it's like a joke, right? Don't drive your bad guy side down into the ditch. You gotta love it though. So yeah, see, once I kind of just get going, if you don't overthink it, you just put it down. And if you don't like it right away, then pick it back up and throw something else on there. And if you don't like any of your scraps at the moment, change them out for some new scraps and flip them over. That's the other beauty of doing this. Is like I'm looking at this going, well, that's all kind of just the same colors and stuff. I like that bright pink, but look at when I flip it over, now I've got this other color that I really like on there. And then I turn it because I see that long piece kind of lends itself to going with one of these words. And sure enough, it does. So I'm gonna make that be a thing. I'm gonna put some cheesecloth behind it. We have a neighbor. Well, I mean, kind of everybody's your neighbor. When you live in a town of 155, it's kind of hard not to be someone's neighbor when you live right in town. But just one of our friends, they have a daughter in my daughter Joy's class, and then she works in our preschool at school. And they have now he'll be a kindergartner this fall. And I think he probably can say it now, but for the longest time, he couldn't say side by side either. So he called it a bicycide. So he wants to take people for a ride on his bicycide. Don't you just love it? I'm sure if you've got kids, you've got things that they couldn't say when they were younger. My girls, Lizzie called it a fidger-fager instead of refrigerator. She said fidger-fager for years, and I just kind of hoped she would never grow out of that one, but sadly, she's 20 years old now, and she learned how to say refrigerator. It's those cute things, though. So we'll let Liam call it a ditch with a B for a while, and we'll kind of hope secretly that he doesn't grow out of it anytime soon. Okay, this is my last oval, so hooray for that. I don't want to put cheesecloth under every single one because then all of a sudden, you're going to get this big bulky pile of these, and you don't want everything to be bulky. The cheesecloth adds sometimes, and then sometimes you don't need the cheesecloth. Also in here in my scrap pile are pieces of coffee filter. Sometimes I'll use a little piece of coffee filter for something, and then I throw the scraps into my scrap pile. And I've got things like this is some vellum, which sounds really cool when you get it all splattery and wet. And that looks cool when you put that together with things, right? Because you can kind of see through it. So then that makes a different kind of layering effect. Anyway, this is what I'm going to sew all of these to get them off of my desk. And then I'll come back and show you the results. And so that I'll be right back. All right, guys. I went ahead and zipped through the rest of these. I sewed around them. And, as long as you have all of your layers touching, then you just sew on your one main embellishment. Here I decided that I wanted a word on the bottom around the label as well. I had enough real estate on there. This one I love. I love that pink and this little folded over guy. So I zipped through all of it with a zigzag and then sewed around the letter. So it occurred to me as I was over there doing this that this would work great as a corner tuck, right? So it occurred to me that as with this one, That's not what occurred to me. It occurred to me that not everybody wants to sew. So I thought, you know, another way that I've seen people make clusters, or that you certainly could, let's see, make clusters, would be to do it with a stapler. I have seen, yeah, I have seen people make clusters with a stapler, as long as all your layers, you know, you can get through them in one spot. Let me grab my stapler. As long as you can get through all of them in one spot. And as long as you have staples in your stapler, because, you know, that's an integral part of trying to do something like staple something. Anyway, I'm not going to grab staples because they're buried over there in a spinner. But if you were to put a staple right down through where my fingernail is, then this would be a completed cluster and it would work just fine. So you could also glue this all down. There's no reason that you could not create this with glue. I just like sewing, but not everybody has a sewing machine or room for a sewing machine or likes the look of sewing. I like the little threads hanging off of everything. That's just kind of me. But you don't, you know, you do you. You don't have to do what I do. I don't have that many scraps left. I have worked through a majority of them. I have a few more words and a few, these are all labels. Yeah, so I've got these two piles of labels, but I think I'm gonna finish some embellishments with these pieces. I'm gonna keep the labels for decorating journals or putting on tags. But I'm going to finish these up into some clusters and finish these other pages here. Let's not lose them. Finish these other little tags. I'm going to add these to my pile. Look at that. Now I've got this huge pile. But also, you know, remember that that's that much more bulk added to a book. So if you were to put these, you have to be smart about spacing these out. If you were to put them all, you know, if this was your signature, if you were to put them all down in the corners like this, or everything down here on the corners, then you've got this much bulk in the bottom of your book. Even if you just break them up by putting them in the bottom corner and then the top corner, at least you half that, you know. But like I said, this pile is for 4 different journals that I've got going on. I would never put all this in one book because that would be the chunkiest thick book ever. So anyway, I'm going to keep working through that. I'm going to finish off some more of these little pieces with my scrappy doos. And then I think that I will be, when I come back, we will work on either starting to put some decoration into the signatures or making some more ephemera. We do have all of those fussy cut flowers that come with the kit and that I have fussy cut out, and I have some ideas with those and some die cuts and making some little bouquets and things for page embellishment. So I want to work on, maybe that will be something we do in the next video too. Anyway, we're just going to keep working through things. So I'm going to work through the rest of my pile of scraps and use up as much of this as I can and finish these last few pieces and finish these last few tags. And then I will be feeling good about where I'm at with having, you know, more ephemera moving forward to keep going with this Wildflower Journal project. So thanks for joining me today, guys. I hope that you're doing well, and I hope that it is not really ridiculously hot where you are, unless you like that. And then, hey, I hope it's hot for you. I hope it cools down here. I'm going to go outside and water my flowers quick before the mosquitoes get really, really bad. They don't like the hot sun, cloudless sky sun. So I'm going to quick water now. Even though you're not supposed to water right when it's in the hottest part of the day, the mosquitoes are so awful here. Like I can't even fully explain to you how awful the mosquitoes are this summer. So I will water in the middle of the day and give my plants extra water in order to avoid them later in the day. So that's what I'm going to go do right now. And I will catch up with you guys again in a day or two here, and take care and stay safe, and God bless you guys. Bye-bye.